takes a whole community to protect people from abuse, and it takes government action to equip them to do so. Women's safety is a crucial issue that goes beyond just physical violence. It's about respecting their voices, autonomy, and rights. Empowering women means creating an environment where they feel safe to express themselves, make choices, and live free from fear or control. Upholding women's safety involving promoting gender equality, educating on consent, and fostering a culture of respect and support. It's essential to stand against any form of oppression or infringement on women's rights, ensuring that every woman can live with full realization of her potential. In some communities, there is a strong emphasis on family honor, which can result in harmful practices such as discrimination and gender-based violence. Within these communities, women face societal pressure to conform to specific rules, prioritizing family obligations over personal aspirations. One such issue that results from the amalgamation of all the above negative themes is sexual grooming. As a mother myself, I find the whole issue disturbing to the core. Whilst the personal characteristics of those committing these offenses are as varied as the offenses themselves, I find it particularly disturbing because much of the hue and cry surrounding this issue involves Pakistani men and Pakistani culture, of which I'm a part. Let me put aside any notion that my culture, heritage, and all religion condones sexual grooming. Not at all. And I will not stand here to excuse or justify this criminal and heinous act. I shall not let the perpetrators who are of Pakistani heritage to hide behind any cloak of culture or cultural or religious.
If you would like to make a point of order, excuse me, quiet please. If anybody would like to make a point of order, please stand up. Thank you.
Come here. Can't talk about it.
Lord Mayor, point of order. This is about protecting those very vulnerable women and girls in our society, and I think by labelling a certain characteristic, I think it's not helpful. It's very divisive politics, and I don't think you should be doing this. And your intention, and if you are intentionally doing it, I think you should apologise. But let's not lose our focus. This is about women and girls in our district and how we need to, as a district, protect them.
Can you please continue now? Taking into account what your colleagues have just said, please.
Who are of Pakistani heritage to hide behind any cloak of cultural or religious differences to the mainstream culture and social practices. Whilst at the local level,
Point of order,
media
please.
coverage can create the impression.
Councillor Falak Hamid, can you please stop? There's another point of order.
Lord Mayor, we can't continue with this kind of rhetoric here. It's already been pointed out here that these kind of stereotypes do not help anything in this district at all whatsoever, and especially in this chamber. So if she wants to continue, please, in the absence of these stereotypes, are not appreciated. Thank you.
Councillor Say. Right, please.
A certain people that is such a smiling.
So, order please, Councillor Shabir.
Keep it short.
So, can we just, can everyone in the chamber just calm down now, please? So, this motion is intended to bring us together around an issue that actually is very close to my heart as well as a woman in this district. We have lost women this year and children through acts of domestic violence. And I personally was very keen to bring this motion because I thought all of us need to acknowledge that. Because those women and children have died in our district under our watch. And those are the women and children I want us to remember today. Because it is beholden on all of us. These things happen. And people say, oh, that next door, they just kept themselves to themselves. I never worried about that. We all need to be vigilant. Now, Councillor Ahmed, nobody is underestimating the seriousness of child sexual exploitation. It is a heinous crime. It is horrible. It is appalling for every member of this chamber. It is committed by people of all faiths and actually different genders as well. And we must not be blind to the fact that a lot of online grooming now happens online. Tell people that. Online cyber grooming is rife nationally, and we really need to look at that. So don't play to the gallery, Councillor Ahmed. This is serious stuff. This is dealing with the reality of women and girls living in this district. And we need to discuss it and come together because this is such an important issue. I had hoped it wouldn't be divisive because I thought this issue would bring us all together. So can we have calm in the chamber? Councillor Ahmed, you may continue with your speech, but can you please be mindful that this is somewhere where we are all coming together around an issue that we all care deeply about, and just think about colleagues and members as we struggle through these difficult issues with in memory of those women and children who've died. Thank you.
Councillor Hamid, would you like to continue with your speech?
We all know that there are abuses of all forms, of all colours, and of all cultures. I hope that West Yorkshire Police and the social services ignore the woke and the political correctness in the pursuance and prosecution of these criminal offenders. But addressing this issue is not just about law enforcement. I can't stress enough that a proactive and multifaceted approach is the most productive way forward. We need to promote active dialogues in key communities. We need to have these conversations openly and make a conscious effort to address this very sensitive issue. It is only by challenging these harmful norms we can begin to make a change, which I haven't seen. Papering over these cracks in our society by merely a reactive policy won't cut it. We need forums and policy specifically designed for such dialogue and targeted at key communities. I find this motion needlessly political as it suggests that the current Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, is the first person to enter Parliament with a commitment to reducing crimes against women and girls. When, as laid out in our amendment, the previous Conservative governments have a clear record of taking positive action, somewhat more constructive than a speech at a party conference. It really is saddening that the current Labour group are not able to leave the politics out of a motion with such good intentions so that everyone across the chamber can support it. It is unnecessary and comes across as petty. For the victims and potential victims, I plead for more consideration, compassion, and support from the rest of the people of Bradford District and beyond, and action from the new government to back up the words of the Home Secretary. Thank you.
Councillor Edwards.
Lord Mayor, can I make a point of order, please, Raya? I think this chamber still deserves an apology for her racial stereotypes before we move on, please, yeah?
I've been informed, Councillor, it's not a point of order. Sorry. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Before I speak, can I just ask all the councillors in the chamber just reflect on some of the conduct that we've just seen? This is a debate on violence against women and girls, and I think the behaviour in the last 5 minutes has been quite appalling. We've had shouting across the room, and I'd like to thank Councillor Hussain and Councillor Hinchcliffe for quite a well-reasoned way of tackling some very abhorrent views. Shouting at a chamber, telling a woman, what I thought I heard was shut your mouth, is completely inappropriate, especially when we're talking about this. That doesn't change what was just said. So I'm speaking today because I believe it's important that men speak on this subject. God knows we have a lot to say on so many other subjects, but too often we leave this job, the difficult job of speaking about violence against women and girls to women, and that's just not acceptable. Violence against women and girls is a national emergency, and it's important that everyone, especially men, speak up. Across the country, 3,000 crimes of women, 3,000 crimes of violence against women and girls are recorded each